this ring up, and pickle has done its part. It's nice and clean now, and it's a little bit misshapen, so we're going to clean up the shape just a little bit. Let's put this on. I think we were going for a size 1 3/8, which is, yeah, it's pretty close. Let's get out the nylon faced hammer, and we'll move around here to the shiny side of the mandrel. Loosen that, roll it. And let's see how we came out here. It looks like a little over 1 3/8, but it is nice and round now. The joint looks like it closed up nicely, so that's going to be easy to clean up. Let's take our bezel and see how it fits. Should be a fairly close fit, and it is. It sits right down in there, so we got a good fit there. I'm happy with that. Let's work our bezel back out. And now let's clean up that joint. And since we have a round surface, you don't want to use a flat-sided file. Use the round side. The round shape can only impart a round shape. So we'll use the round side of a half-round file, and we'll just kind of blend that edge together a little bit. And one of the jewelers I worked with some time ago, I was asking him, why do you use a round file? He says, because it can't make a flat shape. It seems so obvious after he said it, but I really hadn't grasped it until he said it. So, thanks, Bill Hennessy. He was a patient man. All right, and that's fairly smooth there. I'm liking that. Let's put that half round away, and let's go with a little larger version of a half round. See that it's kind of fouled with some previous filings there, so let's give it a quick clean up with a card file. And a card file is nothing more but a bunch of stiff little wires stuck into the wood there that actually get down and drag things out of the teeth. And this is a number 2 cut file. I believe it's a Friedrichs, which is a German brand. And really happy with these files. They have lasted me for years and years, so I try to take good care of them. And we'll just clean up the inside of this bezel just a little bit there. And that pretty much does it. Now, let's flatten this just a little bit. There's a little bit of a wobble in it. And this will take out any high sides, so you need to flip it over and do both sides. So any high sides that you have disappear. Okay, it's nice and flat now, and for a final flattening, we'll actually give it a few passes across the face of a beret file here. Check that. And yeah, it's taken off all around the edge there. That's good. And we don't want to take too much off, but we do want to end up with a nice flat surface, keep things square and even. So I think this will be the top side. This side's got a little bit of a ding right there and there from when I was sawing. I guess I wasn't as careful as I thought I would, but we can turn that down, and that'll become the bottom side. All right. So we have made the bezel, the ring that goes around it, and eventually we will get this ring shank to actually solder together. Let's start over on that. I actually need to clean those up a little bit. We'll get those out of the pickle. There we go. Dry those off. There. Cleaning up, we really just need to scratch off any oxides that might have formed. So we'll lay it across here, and I have a scratch brush here. It's got little brass bristles that stick out. We'll just run that right across the edge there where we need to join these two together, clean them up. Scratch surface going. Same with this one. Okay. Now let's check these and just make sure that they're still lining up nicely. And actually they are. They're pretty good. So I think what I'm going to do is actually take my beret file and pass that across this edge. Just a quick pass. I'm trying to hold this, that's the trick. I think I'll do it this way. Let's try and flatten it just a little bit so we get a little better face going there. Yeah. Flatten the edge up a little bit. And we'll do the same with this piece. Let's check those once again. See how we're doing. Bit open in the middle, so let's check which one is needing adjustment. Looks like they probably both need a little bit of adjustment. Just a little bit in the center there. Okay. Let's check it again here. Yeah, it's still this one needs a little bit more. Just in the middle there. Let's try that. There we go. That's good. Let's see how they're laying as far as lining up this way. Yeah, they're good. Okay. Let's try this again. I may end up binding these together. I'm trying to avoid that because there's really no good way to bind them, but it might become necessary. Let's give this another shot. This time, rather than burn them off, I think I'm just going to lay them up next to each other here. Over into this area. Sort of line them up. And just a little bit. Okay. Still have enough alcohol. Let's fish around for some pieces of solder here. There we go. And again, we're using hard solder. There, let's go and separate those out. Okay, let's lay those in the joint. Okay. Now I think this time, instead of holding the pick in my hands, I'm actually going to hold tweezers in my hand. And I may try to jump in there and try to pull those together a little bit as they start to get close to the soldering temperature. Let's give this another go. Pretty good. Flux is getting bubbly. Should start to glass up here in just a moment. Ready to move in with the tweezers here. Pull that together. Let's see. Oh yeah, I saw it. We got a really nice seam going there. Let's try and flood that out to the ends here. There it went. Okay. We got it. Alright. Sometimes things don't go as planned. You just start over and keep working with it until it works. Or figure out something else to do. In this case, I think we're in good shape. Let's get that off of there while it's still warm. And now they're one piece. Let's put that in the pickle. And it was still nice and warm when I put it in the pickle. So it should be pretty close to being annealed. So it should be nice and supple for our next steps, which is going to be a little bit more challenging than making up the bezel and the ring, but I think we're in good shape to move on to the next step. We're going to have to actually get this set up here, bring this in over here. Oh, that's my saw blades. So we're actually going to begin the process of bending these loops into it, and then we're going to need to edge set the running ends so that they cross over, and they're somewhere in this point here, somewhere close to the center. We're actually going to form a butt joint and join these two ends together so that we close the shank up. So this will not, typical rings have a opening at the bottom. In this case, we're closing it at the top. So a little different approach, but the same result, and you wind up with a ring that has no joint at the bottom, so there's no chance of your solder joint ever breaking or anything like that. So it's not the worst thing, it's just the way it needs to work for this particular design. And we'll let that cook in the pickle for a moment. And I do need to make one more piece for this. There needs to be a backing for this bezel. So I actually need to form a disc just a little bit bigger than this. It should be right at 12.8 millimeters on the inside. Let's check that. And it's right at 13. So we got like 0.2 millimeters clearance, which is 0.1 millimeters clearance around each side of this bezel. So that explains the nice fit. So we're 13 millimeters. I want to actually make a disc that is probably 13.5 millimeters. And I'll show you why we're doing that in just a moment. So let me form a disc that's 13.5 26 gauge sterling silver, punched to 14 millimeter disc using my disc cutter, and then I put a slight dome on it using my light doming punches, and I wound up with a form that is, let's see, yeah, right at 14 millimeters still, so I didn't lose a whole lot by doming it. Now I need to take that down to 13 millimeters. So I affixed it to the end of a dowel here using orange flake shellac, and now let's set about to actually take a ½ millimeter off all the way around. We'll just roll through. And give it a twist as we go. I want to wind up with sides that are actually parallel to the dowel that it's affixed to, so that we wind up with an edge that's not square to the dome, but actually square to its axis. And this is a number 2 cut beret file. It takes it off pretty quick. I'll go around probably once more, and then we'll take a quick look and see where we're at. Check that, see how that's looking. And we're 13.2 there. 13.2 there. So we're coming up fairly round. I need to take just another 1/10 of a millimeter off all the way around. Give a light pass here. Wind up right at 13 millimeters, so let's see where we're at now. It's got to be fairly close. Still around 13.2, so I actually didn't take that much off. Let's dig a little harder here. Pop loose, so I hope I'm at 13. Let's see where we're at. Yes, right at 13 there. Let's check it on another axis. 13. Okay, I'm going to call that 13. That looks pretty good. set our dowel aside here. And let's check our fit here. I want this to actually fit inside of this rig. And it's pretty close. So that will actually be a press fit. And the reason for that is I want this to actually fit down inside of here. And I'm going to need to soak this in alcohol to actually get the orange flake shellac off.